Welcome to today's edition of 3 Minutes of Halacha. Today I want to address briefly the question of using Zoom to be able to connect people over the course of Yom Tov, especially at the Seder. Last week, there were a number of Sephardi poskim who issued a psak which permitted the use of Zoom if people were going to be alone for the Seder. This psak made news across the world, and people began asking us time and time again whether or not it was permitted. Since the psak was issued, a number of them have already retracted. The chief rabbis of Israel have rejected that position, as have the rabbinic community of America, and in particular of Herschel Schachter, who actually issued a psak regarding that issue. But what's behind the permissibility of using Zoom or the forbidden nature of using Zoom on Yom Tov? Obviously, the first question is the question of electricity. Many of the Sephardi poskim are of the position that on Yom Tov, electricity may be permitted. This is a position actually that goes back to the early part of the 20th century with the Aruch HaShulchan, Rabbi Yechiel Michal Epstein, who permitted electricity on Yom Tov, thinking it was the equivalent of an eish me'esh, of lighting one candle to the next, that the current was the equivalent of a candle. However, that position, as great as Rabbi Epstein was rejected by both his contemporaries and also by modern poskim, especially with their greater knowledge of the engineering behind electricity. Nevertheless, there are still some poskim who take that position, and using electricity in Yom Tov in such a way, therefore, would make Zoom much easier to use. The second question was the question of writing. Many poskim maintain that writing something on a screen or an image on a screen could be a question of ketiva, prohibition on Shabbos and on Yom Tov, while others will say that because the screen actually is an oscillating image, nothing is really there. It's just an optical illusion, and the prohibition of ketiva, of writing, is not really violated. Nevertheless, despite those minority positions among the Sephardi world who have permitted Zoom, the overwhelming majority of poskim have said it's forbidden and cannot be used on Shabbos and Yom Tov except in extreme circumstances. The issue of extreme circumstances has been addressed by Rabbi Schachter in one of his tshuvot that he has issued regarding COVID-19. Specifically, he says if it's a question of pikuach nefesh, of life-threatening situation, even if the life-threatening situation is one primarily of a person's mental health, then all sorts of measures can be used, including the possibility of Zoom. But life-threatening is something that a person normally would not determine on their own. Rather, they would need to have mental health professionals involved. And in that kind of case, not only would Zoom be permitted, but many other measures would be permitted, because we have a principle that in situations of pikuach nefesh, all sorts of things that normally are forbidden become permitted, and even in cases, a mitzvah to be able to save another's life. There is a third position suggested by Rav Yosef Tzvi Rimon of Israel, who, while prohibiting Zoom and noting that even if it were permitted, no one has taken into account that when leaving the computer on for a long period of time, there are other issues that would have to be taken care of over Yom Tov, adjusting screens and things like that would be definitely forbidden according to all. He said the easiest way of addressing this is actually by creating a pre-Seder, that in the afternoon, the time when the Paschal Lamb was offered, gather the family together, sing the Pesach songs over Zoom, listen to the Manishtana from your grandchildren, celebrate the coming Seder, and then when the time for candlelighting arrives, turn off the computer and have the Seder, the unusual one of this year, as we have to have.